Please video like and subscribe this channel. For as long as the galactic records had been kept, Princess Elira of Veyrath had rejected every suitor who stood before her. Warrior kings from molten worlds. Scholars whose minds spanned galaxies. Emperors who arrived with fleets that darkened the sky. All of them bowed. All of them pleaded. All of them failed. The throne hall of Veyrath had become a place of quiet dread, its obsidian floor polished by the boots of rejected royalty. Whispers followed every new arrival. How long until she dismisses this one too? What flaw will she see this time? Elira sat beside her mother, Queen Thalis, her posture flawless, her silver-blue eyes distant. To the court, she appeared calm, aloof, even cruel. But inside her mind, the truth was far heavier. She could feel them. Every suitor who approached her carried something hidden beneath ceremony and pride, hunger for power, fear of insignificance, desperation masked as devotion. Their emotions pressed against her senses like static. Loud. Chaotic. Unbearable. The royal bloodline of Veyrath carried an ancient gift, empathic resonance. The ability to sense the true intent of others. It had guided queens through centuries of war and diplomacy, and it had condemned Elira to loneliness. Because she had never felt silence in another being. Not once. The last attempt. The council grew restless. Alliances weakened. Rival empires watched with interest. A ruler without a bond invites instability, the High Chancellor warned during one closed session. We cannot allow tradition to collapse because of preference. Queen Thalis remained silent, though concern flickered in her eyes. Elira finally spoke. I will not bind myself to a lie. The chamber froze. The queen studied her daughter carefully. You will attend the next diplomatic summit, she said. If not to choose, then at least to be seen choosing. Elira inclined her head. She had long since learned when resistance was futile. The summit of 10 systems was held in the floating amphitheater above Veyrath's capital, a marvel of gravity control and light. Representatives from dozens of species gathered, some openly hopeful, others merely curious. Among them was a small delegation from Earth. Humans were still considered a minor species. No empire. No psychic gifts. No grand fleets. They were known instead for adaptability, endurance, and an unsettling calm under pressure. Elira barely noticed them at first. The human. Ethan Cross had not been invited as a suitor. He was there as a systems liaison, assigned to observe and learn. Earth's leaders believed knowledge was worth more than appearances. He stood near the edge of the amphitheater, uncomfortable in formal attire, quietly watching the spectacle unfold. When the suitors began their presentations, Ethan listened with detached interest. Promises of conquest. Offers of genetic legacy. Grand speeches about destiny. Elira rejected them all with polite finality. Then something unexpected happened. The formal proceedings ended. Music filled the air. Guests mingled. Elira rose from her seat and moved to the outer balcony, seeking distance from the noise inside her head. She stood alone. For the first time in years, the pressure eased slightly. Then, soft footsteps. Someone approached and sat beside her on the stone bench, leaving a respectful distance but not retreating in fear. Elira stiffened. Every nerve screamed warning. She turned sharply, ready to dismiss yet another fool. Instead, she found herself looking at a human. Ethan froze when he realized who sat beside him. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to, I can move. She didn't answer immediately. Something was wrong. No, different. She reached out with her senses. And felt nothing. Silence. Elira's breath caught. Not emptiness. Not absence. Stillness. The human's emotions were present, subtle, controlled, like deep water beneath ice. There was no hunger, no ambition aimed at her. Only curiosity and restraint. She had never felt this before. "You are unafraid," she said slowly. Ethan blinked. "Should I be?" The question was honest. No bravado. "You are sitting beside the crown princess of Veyrath," she replied. "Entire empires kneel where you sit." He considered this, then shrugged lightly. "You looked like you needed company, not worship." The words echoed through her mind like a bell struck in vacuum. "You were not invited to approach me," she said. "I know," he answered calmly. "If you want me to leave, I will." She studied him closely. His posture was relaxed but respectful. His eyes held no calculation. "Stay," she said quietly. "A dangerous choice." From across the amphitheater, the court noticed. Whispers rippled outward. A human. Sitting beside the princess. Unchallenged. Queen Thalis narrowed her eyes. The High Chancellor hissed, "This is unacceptable." Minutes passed. Elira and Ethan spoke of small things at first: Earth's oceans, the artificial suns of Veyrath, the strangeness of galactic etiquette. For the first time in her life, Elira felt rest. When the Queen finally approached, the music faded into silence. "Daughter," Queen Thalis said evenly, "who is this?" Elira stood. "This is Ethan Cross," she said. "And he is the first being who has ever sat beside me without fear or desire." Gasps erupted. The Queen's gaze sharpened on Ethan. "Is this true, human?" Ethan swallowed, then met her eyes. "I don't want anything from her," he said. "If that's a crime, I'll accept the consequences." The empathic sensors embedded in the throne hall flared. His statement was true. The trial of intent. The council demanded a formal inquiry. Never before had a princess allowed such proximity without ritual or claim. Ancient law required clarity. Ethan was summoned before the court. "You stand accused of disrupting royal balance," the chancellor declared. "Explain why you approached the princess." Ethan answered simply. She looked lonely. The chamber fell silent. Elira felt it again, the calm, spreading through her like a balm. Queen Thalis closed her eyes briefly, then extended her senses toward Ethan herself. What she found unsettled her. No hunger. No manipulation. Only a human who had learned to carry his fears quietly. "Why do you feel muted?" the Queen asked. Ethan hesitated. "Where I come from, we don't survive by being loud," he said. "We survive by enduring." Elira stepped forward. "Mother," she said, voice steady, "I choose him." The word choose echoed like thunder. The chancellor recoiled. "He is not royalty. He brings no power." Elira turned to the court. "Neither did peace, when we first sought it." The Queen's decision. Queen Thalis studied her daughter, truly studied her. For the first time, Elira's emotional field was stable. Balanced. Alive. "You would bind your fate to a human?" the Queen asked softly. Elira nodded. "Not because he seeks it. Because he does not." Silence stretched. Then Queen Thalis spoke. "Let it be recorded," she declared, "that tradition exists to protect truth, not suppress it." The Queen faced Ethan. "You will remain on Veyrath. Not as consort." "Not yet." Ethan bowed his head. "That's fair." "You will walk beside my daughter," the Queen continued. "And if your silence proves stronger than our crowns, the galaxy will adapt." A new kind of strength. In the cycles that followed, the empire changed. Elira attended councils with Ethan seated quietly beside her. No speeches. No demands. Just presence. Negotiations grew calmer. Wars were delayed, then avoided. Other empires noticed. Humans were no longer dismissed as insignificant. They were studied. Feared, in a way. Not for their weapons, but for their ability to sit beside power and not be consumed by it. The seat remains. One evening, as twin moons rose over Veyrath, Elira sat alone on the balcony. Ethan approached but stopped short. "Is it still acceptable?" he asked gently. She smiled, a real smile, rare and luminous. "Always." He sat beside her. And for the first time in centuries, the throne hall of Veyrath knew peace, not because a prince had claimed a princess, but because a human had dared to sit beside her without fear. End.